All right, we'll get started. Welcome everyone, and thank you so much for joining our Bridging the Gap Financial Literacy Series. It is our first webinar of this series, and tonight we'll be covering pivoting over pausing and leveraging your skills and expertise during an economic crisis. Bridging the Gap is sponsored by Comerica Bank. We are very grateful for their sponsorship, and tonight we are hosting in partnership with the National Association for Black Accountants Houston Chapter. Just to give you a bit of background on Emancipation Park Conservancy, we were founded in 2016, and we are the programming, fundraising, and events arm for Emancipation Park. And Emancipation Park was founded in 1872 in an early act of cooperative economics. Four formerly enslaved ministers did pull together $800 with the help of community members to purchase the 10, now 11.7 acres of land that Emancipation Park sits on, right in the center of the Third Ward community. So we do pride ourselves in being the center of the Third Ward community, and they purchased it for the purpose of celebrating Juneteenth. So here we are now, over almost 150 years later, still serving the community, and we're really, really excited about that. I'm now going to hand it over to Cecil Garrick from NABA Houston Chapter, so that he can share a little bit about NABA before we get into introducing our panelists.
To continue with the spirit of resilience, as mentioned by Imam with the EPC, NABA was also founded in 1969 for Black accountants to come together to be able to form a cohesive unit and be support in what was and still a tumultuous time for many people in the profession. The idea of this event and being able to carry it out over this medium does exactly that, speaks to the resilience of everyone. So on behalf of NABA Houston, I'd like to say thank you for participating. Thank you for sharing our time with us. And we look forward to be able to taking that idea of resilience and remember that that's something that we can use in every part of our lives, particularly in a moment like this, and be able to bear down, focus, and leverage what skills you do have and expertise you do have with those of others. That way we make sure that together and as a one unit, we can leverage those individual talents and lift people while we climb. There's certain individuals and people who are doing better than others and some who are looking to be better. And we want to be sure that those individuals who possess that knowledge, because none of us possess it all by ourselves, we're able to leverage that. And that's the focus of this event and the reason we have the panelists here today. I'd like to turn it over to Iman, and she'll introduce both the speakers that we have for you today, and it'll be a worthwhile event. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Cecil. We have two wonderful panelists that are joining us today. Thanks so much, Asheli and Brent, for taking the time. And now I will introduce you to them. Asheli Atkins is a co-founder of Attucks England Consulting LLC, and her presentation today is entitled Pivoting Over Pausing. She is a business consultant and Sociology Ph.D. candidate at Texas A&M University, studying race and ethnic relations and organizational theory. Her research centers around strategy, construction processes for marginalized entrepreneurs, as well as an analysis of the gig economy as racialized and gendered organizations. Asheli is also the research and data sponsor for the Greater Houston Black Chamber, where she provides assistance with data collection, analysis, and presentation of and for GHBC sponsors, members, and Houston's Black consumers. Asheli is also a sociology lecturer at PRAIRIE A&M University, where she teaches social theory, social problems, and general sociology. Asheli, thanks so much for joining us today.
Thank you so much. Okay.
And next I'll introduce Brent Latin. Brent is the president and CEO of Young Professionals Entertainment. And his presentation today is entitled Positioning, Promoting, and Producing. Young Professionals Entertainment is a media marketing and entertainment company that's located in Shreveport, Louisiana. The company also functions as a professional recording studio where many local and regional artists record. He is also a talented musician that plays several instruments and has performed with various artists from across the country. In 2013, YPE was named Small Business of the Year by the Shreveport-Bossier African American Chamber of Commerce. And in 2015, Brent was inducted into the 9th class of 40 Under 40, which is a young professionals initiative of Northwest Louisiana. In 2019, YPE was also chosen as one of the top small businesses in the Greater Shreveport area by the 318 Forum and Greater Shreveport Chamber. He serves on many boards across Louisiana, and he received his bachelor's degree in accounting from Louisiana Tech University and is a member of Kappa Alpha Psi fraternity and Delta Sigma Pi business fraternity. So thanks so much, Brent, for joining us. We appreciate that. And now we will hop into Asheli's presentation. One moment.
Okay, hopefully you guys can see it. Amon, can you guys see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Okay, perfect. All right, I have to decide to ask my students the exact same way. So just as, thank you so much, Iris. Just as Iman stated, my name is Asheli Atkins. Today I'm going to discuss pivoting over pausing. And just as she mentioned, I am a sociology instructor at PRAIRIE University. I'm a business consultant. I co-founded Attucks England Consulting, and I'm a PhD candidate at Texas A&M. And so all of these things together kind of explain the topic that I'm choosing today, which is going to be data heavy, but it's going to have a business consulting spin on it. So it'll be able to assist you all in making sure that you guys are pivoting to respond to the current pandemic and not just pausing your business and kind of sitting and waiting for it to be over, because we're honestly not sure when it's going to be over. So one thing that we have to be mindful of in living in Houston is that there are always unforeseen circumstances. And so we're really aware of flooding. We think about Hurricane Harvey and the impact that that had on a lot of businesses. And so for some businesses, they weren't able to bounce back after Hurricane Harvey because of the severity of it. But there are also unforeseen circumstances like personal issues. Maybe if you get sick and you're the only person operating your business and having to kind of pause your business because of that. And then there are also professional circumstances that occur that are also unforeseen. That could be losing an employee, a very key or essential employee, that causes you to have to pause your business for a little bit. And what we're experiencing right now with COVID-19, again, unforeseen circumstance, but there are methods to pivot your business and keep your business going, even despite some of these circumstances. So when we talk about pivoting, I chose a specific definition by PRAIRIE 2018 because it highlights some really important components to pivoting. So the first component is giving up some of the ideas that you've been working on. So when you think about your business model, when you think about your business plan, and then you add on this, this pressure that comes along with COVID, when I say pivot, I'm not saying forgo the entire business model or just let go of the whole business plan. I'm saying you may have to give up some of the ideas that you have in the pipeline and begin to explore and seek out new opportunities. And the reason why this is important is because pivoting allows people, just as it says here, to resist and overcome fixation. So fixation, i.e. pausing, resisting the often easily chosen option of just kind of pausing and waiting for things to be over. And the reason why we want to move away from fixation or resist it altogether is because we honestly don't know when this is going to be over. We don't know when the shelter in place and the social distance regulations are going to end. And so we have to figure out ways to keep moving forward with our business, even despite what's going on right now. So we know that a lot of businesses had to close their doors. But the question that you really have to ask yourself is, can your business operate with the doors closed? So can your business operate with social distancing regulations in place? And that's kind of the question that we have to ask ourselves, because for some businesses, they simply cannot. There's some businesses that no matter how much we want to explore new opportunities, they cannot move forward. And so an example that I give, an example that I use in this presentation is a tattoo company, right? So there's nothing that you can do. I don't want you coming into my house to give me tattoos. I don't want to go to your shop, even if I'm the only person, because of the physical contact that's needed when you're getting a tattoo, right? We could say, okay, we'll try some other methods, maybe giving people temporary tattoos. If you want a real tattoo, you don't want to get a temporary tattoo. So you may have to just simply pause that company. And then there are other companies that can easily transition into operating virtually, because they were operating virtually even before COVID. So the transition doesn't really impact them, and they're able to just smoothly kind of transition into this next phase of business operation in the current climate. And luckily, there is IBIS World, which is a company that collects industry research globally. And they created this concept called industry exposure that is specific to COVID. So what they do is they go through all the sectors of the economy, and they break them down into industries, and they determine whether or not these industries can still operate, how much are they impacted by COVID. Some are impacted to a high level, some are impacted to a low level. And the impact is specifically focused on revenue. Are they able to still bring in revenue even with COVID going on? And how difficult is it for them to bring in revenue? And so the reason why I bring attention to this specific IBIS World component is because I went through and I identified some really highly exposed companies, and I use them as an example because even though these companies really honestly should not be able to function, there are a lot of companies who are still functioning because they're pivoting. They're learning how to identify new opportunities in the marketplace. So I can't really see the chat, but I would like to know, based on whatever industry some of the audience is a part of, where do you think your industry exposure level falls? Do you think that your industry exposure level is low, pretty high? What do you think, just based on your experience in your industry? I have to read too.
Feel free to use that chat box to answer Ashley's question.
And so if there are none, here we go, we have one response. So Billy says, public accounting, low exposure due to ability to work. Yes, good, Millie, exactly. So because this is NABA, I really wanted to spend a little time talking about the, Emily says low, had to launch a fit business yet soon. Okay. And so I really wanted to draw attention to, Brett also says low, with marketing and media businesses being able to operate virtually. Great answers. Thank you so much, guys. And so because this is NABA, I wanted to focus on the finance sector. And so actually the exposure is not low, it's actually medium when we think about public accounting. And the reason why it's medium is because even though a lot of people like Billy, like public accountants, can simply transition virtually with little difficulty, it becomes, it goes up beyond being, goes up to medium because there's an issue with security, right? So you have people that are paying, that are sending documents, that are sharing personal information with you while you're in your home. And so the issue there becomes you have to make sure that not only you as a business owner, but if you have employees, your employees know how to implement certain security measures to make sure that they're keeping people's information private and confidential. Because confidential in the sense that just because they themselves are not sharing the information doesn't mean that their partners are not coming and sitting at the kitchen table and looking at these documents that have people's personal information, or family friends that are maybe living in the house don't have access to this information and these personal documents. And so also an important tip when I was looking at the financial sector, an important tip that a lot of different companies were sharing was the need to communicate with their clients. And so you need to communicate not only new deadlines, because I know that on the federal level, there's a lot of extensions that are occurring with taxes and things like that. And you need to make sure that you are communicating this, but communicate without overwhelming your clients. A lot of people are being spammed. Me, for example, every day I'm receiving emails from different companies with the word COVID or Corona right in the subject line. And that can be really overwhelming for people to the point where you don't even want to open up the email. So there could be really essential information in those emails, but if you're emailing me every single day you're sending me new content and there's a new deadline extension, or there's some, just kind of like blasting me with the word COVID or pandemic in my email box, I may just steer away from even opening up the emails. And so we really just want to be mindful that as we communicate with our clients and our customers, that we're not overdoing it, that we're not overwhelming them, because people are honestly really sensitive right now because they have a lot going on in their personal, professional, and emotional lives. Okay. And so moving along, when I went to IBS iWorld, like I said, I identified 3 specific industries that have high exposure. And one thing that I found was that these industries are relying heavily on 4 key areas. And so the first is technology, which I guess is kind of obvious, because we have to rely on virtual resources and virtual components to operate and kind of keep our businesses going. But this is beyond social media. This is beyond Zoom. This is getting into secure payment methods, secure document sharing software, and which kind of leads into the next point, which is security. So making sure that whatever you're doing, whether it's people paying, doing it securely, if it's having certain conversations about confidential information, making sure that you know how to use a lot of these conference softwares securely, like we're doing today with Zoom. This isn't just open to the public. They have to register. They have to get a password in order to be able to log in, to keep the safe space, and to make sure that whatever information people are sharing is secure. Additionally, we notice a lot of companies having to build more content in order to pivot, and it could be content that is not their usual content. And then lastly, which is an area that I think people really are not paying a lot of attention to, is the legal component. Because a lot of information is being shared on these conferencing systems and through email and even on social media, you need to know legally how you are protected and your legal rights, and making sure that even if things are not illegal, they're still ethical, right? So the first company that I pay attention to, is hotels. So hotels is an obvious company with high exposure because traveling is limited. Hotels, the cleanliness of hotels has always been an issue even before the pandemic. And then their focus on occupancy can also cause issue when it comes to social distancing and shelter in place. So the company that I focus on is Hilton. Hilton Hotel brand is doing a phenomenal job at pivoting. So what they actually did is they came up with a campaign called Dream With Us, where they're shifting their attention from making sure that their hotels have high occupancy to just making sure that they're able to maintain relationships with their clients, not clients, but customers, potential customers, and then also just serve as like a resource to people right now as they cannot travel, right? So an important part of Dream With Us is that they're offering virtual tours. So wherever Hilton hotels are, you can do a virtual tour of the city. So that means Dubai, Italy, China, Japan, any country that you think of, all these beautiful beaches, all these beautiful cities, you can actually do virtual tours. If you need to just get away from your family, from work, and you need to zone out, this is a great resource that they put into place. They're also sharing a lot of their sought after recipes from their restaurants. If you go to the Hilton social media page, I think every Tuesday or Wednesday, they're offering videos and recipes of some of their, delicious cookies and delicious meals. And then they're also offering Zoom backgrounds, again, of some of the most beautiful places in the world. You can have that as your Zoom background because we all know right now we are relying heavily on Zoom. So why not make it fun? And then some resources that I want to draw attention to for the people who maybe are struggling with social media, knowing how to use it, especially for your business, is 2119. It's a Black-owned company. They're offering actually free Instagram marketing classes. So 17 courses, all for free. The same thing with Facebook Blueprint. Facebook Blueprint is for businesses and teaching businesses how to market on Facebook for free. It's 100% free. And then lastly is Mojo Video App. So Mojo Video App is useful for businesses if you're creating pre-recorded content and getting away from just Zoom, just somebody sitting in front of their computer and talking. Mojo Video Apps makes the videos fun. You can add words that are sliding across the screen. You can make it really engaging, and that's important for you know, customer engagement. Sorry, somebody had a comment in the chat. So Emily said, okay, yes. So definitely try the virtual tours, Emily. It's amazing. It helps you really get away, and because we all definitely need to relax. And next up, I want to focus on personal services. So here I focus on technology, security, and content. And I use the example of personal services as a sector because I want to draw attention to within this sector, a lot of businesses need actual physical touch, like to actually touch a client or to just be close to a client. And because their companies depend on physical touch and closeness, they are high exposure because when I use the example of a massage industry here called Anita Touch, it's a Black-owned Houston brand, a Houston-based Black-owned company that offers massages. When we know about Corona and all these restrictions, we are not gonna go get a massage right now. But what Anita Touch is doing, which I think is really, really smart and wise, is that they're moving away from offering gift cards and offering massages and just pushing out content unnecessarily. They're giving people what they need, right? So what this means is that they're actually creating videos of how to stretch and exercise at your desk, because we're spending a lot of time sitting down at our desk, which is not healthy. We're also under a lot of stress. So they're creating content that is easy to do in the home. So stretching, movement, yoga, and they're also offering one-on-one sessions for people who need assistance with like stretching and you know, yoga treatment and you know, different techniques to work out some of the stresses happening to their body. But what's really important about that is being able to do it securely. So if we think about the fact that a lot of Zoom bombing is occurring, so people like joining in Zoom, imagine if you're on a one-on-one meeting with a client and somebody joins in and says something or does something that is inappropriate or racially motivated, that can maybe cause your client to no longer want to interact with you. So there's actually, beyond Zoom and all the different security methods that they put up, there's a software called Signal, and it's a conferencing system that is an alternative method and a much more secure conferencing method than Zoom. And so there's also different methods like FaceTiming that are a little bit more secure than Zoom, but just being mindful that as you're creating tech content, as you are utilizing technology, it's really important to be safe, to make sure that your clients feel that even though you're using a computer, it's still a safe space for them to share personal information. We just really want to be mindful of that. And then last but not least, events. So of course, social distancing regulations kind of puts a damper on a lot of the events going on, even when we think about the event that's happening right now. And so one example that I give is Black Restaurant Week. Black Restaurant Week offers events throughout the US, in Houston being one location, New Orleans, all these different cities to highlight food from the African diaspora. And so they could just simply pause and put off all their events and stop all revenue. But what they're actually doing is they're creating a variation of events every week. So one week was about wine, and it was 4 days about wine with different sommeliers coming, and then it ended with a Netflix watch party for the movie Uncorked. The next week, the following week after that was about chefs and culinary professionals in Louisiana, because they're really known for their food. And so every week they offered a variation in order to not overload people with the exact same content over and over. And because they're able to do it so well, they were able to still maintain sponsorship and build partnerships with different culinary professionals during COVID. But what's really important is that you need to be mindful of the legal needs that go along with partnership and sponsorship. You can't just get verbal agreements. It can't just be simple emails. You still need the legal component that goes along with making a partnership and making sponsorship to know who's liable for what. And a good resource is Lawyers for Good Government. This is supported by the American Bar Association, and they're offering free legal advice and support right now for all small business owners. And that's it. So do we have any questions? I know that was a lot of content, but if you guys have any questions, we have a Q&A in a little bit, but if you have any that I can answer quickly, I would love to answer those very quickly. I guess not. Okay, so I will pass it back to Iman.
Thanks so much, Asheli. And at any time, if you all would like to ask a question, please do use the Q&A feature. It's in your toolbar at the bottom of your Zoom screen. And towards the end, we will have an open Q&A session with both Brent and Asheli, and we'll be going through your questions. And now I will pass it over to our next presenter, Brent.
All right, good evening to everyone. I'm very excited to present today and just to kind of talk about some different things that we can do to really position our businesses where we want to position them. And let me go ahead and get my screen shared over here. All righty. I'm having a little trouble, but if not, we will continue. And if everyone can, I just kind of want to know what type of industries we have. So if you can put in the chat what type of business you have, I would love to know that as we carry on our conversation. Also, okay, all right. I'm having a little trouble getting my screen to share, but we will go ahead and
no problem, Brent. I will share my screen. I've got your presentation pulled up.
Okay, you got it. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Awesome. Okay, so let me just check to see. Okay, we have accounting, real estate inspections. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Plastics, man. Okay, awesome. Well, let's go ahead and get started. So, positioning, promoting, and producing during this pandemic. As you heard earlier, my name is Brent Latin. Born and raised here in Shreveport, Louisiana, just about 3.5 hours away from you guys. And I've done a lot here in our community and even in the region. I have some clients out in Houston and even some of the other areas. And our company mainly focuses on media and marketing. So our biggest thing that we do is video production. We provide video services for a lot of different organizations, all the way from churches to restaurants to school systems, pretty much any entity or organization that you can think about. And then we also do a lot of social media marketing and a lot of social media advertising and those type of things. But let's go ahead and talk about some ways to position yourself during this pandemic. Let's talk about that first. So one of the ways that you can position yourself is first using this time to get even better organized. I think pretty much everybody is in a position now that we've never been in, as far as having just the time to really focus on what we want to do, especially once we get out of this COVID-19 situation. So we want to use this time to really organize pretty much everything with our businesses, everything with our organizations that we can think of. I know one of the things that I've been able to really do with my organization is even organize our online cloud system to make sure that once we are out of here, we're producing and we're doing the best that we can do to serve our clients. And then the next thing that we have the opportunity to do is we have the opportunity to really plan. I think this time has really brought on a sense of thought for everyone, and everybody is really diving in to say, well, look, what do I want to do while this is going on, but what do I want to do while this is over? And I know I'm talking to a lot of entrepreneurs, so I'm pretty sure that, you know, you had your game plan for 2020 in early 2019. But now it's time for us to even plan, now that we know we will have a new normal, knowing that, you know, we have to pay attention to social distancing and how we service our clients, but not only servicing our clients, but how we're going to even interact with our team. And then the next thing that we want to do during this time of organization and planning is create. And I know Asheli mentioned it a little bit about creating some different ways, maybe altering some of the things that you had planned for your business. One of the things that I love that one of the quotes that she had in her presentation, she was talking about some of the other things that you're planning. Hey, you might want to put those things even further on the back burner and create some new ideas and some new methods during this time that we're going. So also with positioning, which I think is very important, we want to make sure that we are communicating. And I have a few different points of communication that I think are very important. Of course, first of all, we want to communicate with our team. In the chat, let me know maybe if you have some staff members or employees, any of the businesses out there. I know we have some sole proprietorships, but do we have any businesses that may have staff people as well? And why are you putting that in the chat? I know for our business, we have 3 full-time staff members, and the 4th person is myself. So we've really found some very, good ways to communicate. We are in media and marketing, so we do have to at sometimes actually be in some situations during this COVID-19 where we do have to practice social distancing. But we've done a lot of virtual meetings, I think, which everyone has done. So the next thing, we want to make sure that we're not only communicating with our team, but we're communicating with our clients. And we know this time, depending on what industry that you're in, communicating with clients can be easy, but if you're in one of those restaurant or one of those hands-on industries, it can be a lot more difficult. But trying to find a way, if it's via, social media to communicate with your clients, if it's via email, if you have a text campaign, even if you have a mobile app to communicate with your clients. And this is also a very important time as we're positioning ourselves to navigate all of these things with this pandemic. We want to make sure that we're communicating with our bankers and with our CPAs. I think Cecil will definitely appreciate communicating with your CPA, because right now, most of our businesses are suffering a lot of revenue. We know that there are some industries that are really thriving off of this pandemic, but the majority of us, we are losing a lot of revenue. So we definitely want to talk to our CPAs and then also with our bankers. So if you can put in the chat or the Q&A, how many people have applied for the payroll or paycheck protection plan that the SBA is doing? Because that is very important, not only if you do have staff members, but also even if you are a sole proprietor, or even if you're a contract worker, there can still be some great things in there for you. I know our business with our staff people, we've been able to keep everyone on staff because we were able to get those funds and that loan from the SBA. And then we also know there are some other financial resources that will definitely help us to position not only after the pandemic, but during the pandemic right now. So also, we want to make sure that we are communicating with our families. I've been married, it'll be 7 years in a couple of weeks, and I have a couple of kids, and then the other people that are in my family. But we want to make sure that we're communicating with them as well. A lot of times for us business people, we kind of are tunnel vision, and I know I've been in that position before, to where it's business, business, business. Of course, we may take care of our family, but sometimes we don't talk to our wife as much, or our mother, or father, or sister, or brother, or other members in our family. But this is a great time and a great opportunity to not only position yourself in your business, but to position yourself for your business. So making sure that you are where you need to be. And then lastly, that kind of carries on with positioning yourself, is also making sure that you're talking to your advisor. Everybody needs a business coach, a business consultant, an advisor, a mentor, someone that can help mentor and navigate them, especially through these tough times that we're experiencing right now. So that's very important for your business to have someone like that. I thank God for the people that I have in my mentor circle that I've seen their leadership for years, and I'm able to really lean on them during good times and also bad times, and times when I need some encouragement and times when I need correction. So this is a perfect time to position yourself and to make sure that you're carrying on good conversations with those people. And last, you want to make sure you're communicating with people that can help you personally. So your pastor or your therapist. My wife is a LPC, so she's a licensed therapist, and of course I kind of get some of her therapy for free, invoice free, but I would definitely say for everyone in this group to reach out to a therapist, to make sure that you're telling them how you're feeling. Not only will that help you personally, but we know that if you're right as a person and individually, you will be right for your business, then you will be right for your staff, and you will also ultimately be right for your clients. And the last thing during this time of positioning that you want to do, you want to make sure that you're learning. And obviously everybody that's either watching this Facebook live feed or everyone that is tuned in or on this webinar, you already are achieving that. You're learning, you're spending this time not just to get on social media or to watch the latest Netflix show or documentary, which is all great and dandy, but as entrepreneurs and business people, we want to always make sure that we are continuing to learn and that we're really putting forth an effort to learn more. So I applaud everybody on here for doing that. All right, so let's go ahead and go to the next slide if we can. So after we decide to make sure that we position, we want to go ahead and start promoting. And Asheli did a great job of providing some resources. So I'll probably kind of piggyback off of some things that that she said. So first thing, how many people have video media for their company that they post online? If you just want to put that in the chat, yes, no, I'm working on it, or good, Billy, good, Emily. Awesome. Anybody else have a video production that they're putting out? Okay, Liz. Okay, well, we're going to work on that, and hopefully this will help us out. But this is a great time to really promote your business and to use all of the digital ways that you can do that. Of course, and Francis as well said yes. Like I told you guys earlier, we focus a lot on video production. That's where 70 to 80% of our revenue comes from is video production. So it is very important that you're using that in so many different ways for your business. And, you know, 15 years ago, if you wanted a great video 20 years ago, you would have had to wait on a great video production person, which is still good. You still want that professional touch, but everybody has something that's in their hand or right next to them. It's a phone that they can use to get great video production, even right now, especially since, you know, even if you do have the marketing budget to hire a professional videographer, which I always suggest, we know that with social distancing and with a lot of businesses being closed, that may not be possible. But you can use this device right here that you use every day to do great videos for your organization. So you may want to even start out doing a video talking about how you're looking to navigate your business through COVID-19 and sending that out to your clients, you know, pretty much every way that you can. You can also use this time to do live tutorials. Go Facebook Live and say, well, look, I want to do a tutorial about how we do our services. Okay, so if I am a if I am a real estate investor, this is a good time for me to talk about what are the best ways. Chantel, the real estate investor, a great way to say, well, look, make sure that you have your credit this way. These are some steps that you can take. Make sure that you have this type of down payments, or if you need this type of assistance, we can help. Liz, with real estate inspections, we know that the real estate market, I know in my area, is doing pretty good because of the lower interest rates. So Liz, you may want to get on and say, well, look, I know right now we're doing some tough times, but this is how I'm inspecting homes right now during this type of situation. The same for Billy for accounting. You may want to go and talk about some of the best practices that business can practice right now. And if they need to talk further, they can pay a consulting fee to talk with you. So there are so many great ways that video engages us and will be great for your business. So we have video media. Also, you know, depending on your type of business, you might even want to do some pictures as well. Another form of media that is very popular and people have time to really take advantage of it is podcast. So if you are, especially if you're accounting or some type of educational type of business, you can really have just a great value added to your business by using those forms of media. So secondly, we're going to talk about one of our favorite forms of media, so social media. So is everyone involved heavily on social media? Do you have social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn, some other type of social media platforms? Awesome, good, all of them. Awesome, Emily. Good, Ashley, Billy, all good. And I tell everybody as we do consulting with social media, I call it the Trinity: Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Those are the trinity of social media, but it's good to take advantage, especially right now with such a high volume of people on those platforms. And we know the engagement. I know we probably have a lot of millennials in here. I'm 30 years old, so I'm a millennial. So I grew up with the onset of social media and have navigated through it the last, I would say, 15 years or so. So we know the engagement that, you can still reach for your business to make sure that you're really promoting yourself, not only for right now, but once this is over with. And of course, YouTube. I tell everybody, if you don't know, the #1 search engine is Google, as we know, but the #2 search engine is YouTube. So kind of what I said earlier, you want to make sure to have some video content online for people to take advantage of, because when they're looking for your business, they're going to definitely Google you, but they may YouTube you as well to see if you have any content to provide on there. And then the caveat to that is that Google owns YouTube, so Google is the search engine master at this point. All right, website. This is a great time to promote your website, but also to reevaluate the functionality of your website, the use of your website, how clients view your website. This is a great time to really do that. This is a great time to revamp your website. If you have a website that has a model of a kind of 2000 or early 2000 model, you may want to go ahead and update it and make sure that it's mobile friendly. Make sure that your SEO is correct on your website, making sure that it's been able to be found anywhere. So you definitely want to use your website to promote right now. We know that we are living in a virtual world. Even before the pandemic, it was just very important to have your website, but even more now. All right, 2 more things. Digital marketing when it comes to promoting. And digital marketing is super important. I tell everybody at this point, a lot of people are cutting the cord when it comes to cable, and we're using a lot of smart apps and a lot of smart TVs to watch now. So one of the things that you can do for your business, especially if you have a decent marketing budget, is doing some OTT advertising. And if you're not familiar with OTT, that's over the top type of advertising. So when you're on your smart television and you see a commercial pop up in between your show, and sometimes you may see a local commercial pop up on a national show. That's what OTT does. And not only for your visual, but also for or not visual, but for your video, but for graphics and different things. This is a great time to do retargeting, a great time to really gain an audience on websites and have ads running on websites and doing some of those digital methods that can really increase your visibility and your customer base. And then last thing that you can do as far as with promoting is webinars. One thing that I tell all business owners and entrepreneurs is you want to become the expert in your field. You want to become the information base for whatever field you're in. If you're in accounting, or if you're in real estate, or if you're in business consulting, if you're in engineering, if you're in blogging, fitness, you want to become that expert. So right now is a perfect time to say, hey guys, look, I'm having a free webinar. You can sign on. I'm going to give the top 5 tips of real estate investing. And you hold a webinar and you capture those leads and you give that information. And then at the same time, once you have that audience pulled in, you give enough information to say, well, look, if you need any more information, now it's time to book me for consulting. So those are some great ways to promote your business, especially during the time that we're in right now. So let's go ahead and go to the next slide. The last thing that we want to do, we want to produce. And I know this is hard for some businesses, but the businesses, kind of like what Asheli was saying before, the ones that may be low or medium affected with what's going on, we want to make sure that now, once we've planned and once we've promoted, we want to be able to produce. Let's go ahead and go to that next slide. So when it comes to producing, right now, we know one of the things that we have to do, we have to find a way to engage our clients virtually / digitally. And we really have to focus on a way to do that. I know one of the things that we've really been doing a lot here in our area, we've been working with a lot of churches to flip the script and make sure that they have a virtual presence. And we know that, you know, besides Walmart and some other retail stores, a lot of larger churches are used to having a lot of people in the building. So now churches are having to switch and go virtual or digital, but the same with any industry. So this is a great time after you plan and promote to look how you can digitalize and virtualize your business. Look at the ways that you can engage your clientele and your audience via social media or your website or webinars or via text, via call, via apps, via mobile apps. See what is the best way to do that for your business. And then too, we have to go ahead and find a way to produce physically. We have to make sure that we're planning out ways for our business once this is over, ways that we can physically produce our services / products. And now we have to figure out a way to do that with the social distancing that we have to do, with the number of people that we're allowed to have in our facility at a time. And I know that changes state by state and even city by city. So we have to look and see what are the best methods for that. We have to look and see how many people actually have a physical location or a brick and mortar that they operate out of. If you do have one of those, you have to figure out ways that you're going to sanitize your building, ways that you will have ways that your clients, if they come in, to where they can feel comfortable understanding and knowing that, look, this is a safe place. We're making sure to wash our hands or use hand sanitizer, or we're cleaning our facility daily to make sure that we're not spreading what's going on right now. And then the last thing that any business we have to figure out, we have to do, we have to navigate. We have to figure out, which way are we going to go? Are we going to go north? Are we going to go west? Are we going to go east? Are we going to go south? We have to figure out how we're going to navigate, and we have to direct that car or that boat, whatever you want to call your engine to drive your business. So those are just some things that I know that we can definitely do during this time. This pandemic is tough for all of us, but entrepreneurs, we know that we are very resilient. We work hard, but we're going to figure out a way to do this. So again, positioning, promoting, and producing during this pandemic. And Aman, you can go ahead and go to that last slide. If you have any other questions, even outside of this webinar, feel free to contact me. That's my email address. That's my cell number as well. And also you can find me on social media. Anywhere you go, type in Brent Latin, you can find me there. So thank you guys so much. And I'm looking forward to the Q&A, because I usually don't like to talk too long. I like to engage with the audience. So I'm really missing that face-to-face, but I'm excited about Q&A. So thank you guys again.
Thanks so much, Brent. Again, we definitely appreciate you giving your presentation. And at this time, we're going to go into a Q&A session. We'll answer as many questions that we can answer within the time constraints that we have. And so if you have any, you can drop those questions into the Q&A box. You should see that at the bottom of your Zoom screen. Right now, I don't see that there are any questions in there. If you aren't able to see that, then do go ahead and use the comment box, but we prefer that you use that Q&A box. I'm seeing some going through. Cecil and I will tag team here. I'll read the first one. Also, if when you send your questions, if you can denote if they are for Asheli or Brent or both presenters, that will help us a lot. But I will read our first question. It's from Chantel Jones. Thanks, Chantel, for joining us. And Chantel's question, she's got a bit of a series of questions. She says, what tips can either of you give for retaining potential customers once they've become leads or been semi-influenced? For example, if they make it to your IG page, how do you get them to follow or interact? Or if they've heard about your website, how do you get them to sign up for the email list or purchase a product or service?
do you want to go?
Yes,
Okay, so I guess I'll start it off. So if they're, watching you on Instagram Live, or even like you mentioned, maybe on your YouTube channel, you want to simply get them to follow up. Easy methods are just offering discounts. We see these pop up all the time when you go to new websites. They say, okay, $10 off of whatever their product or service if you sign up for the email subscription list. And then when they sign up, they get an automatic email that goes to them that gives them 10% off, $10 off. That's just the easy way. Another method that I do for an Instagram page that I create is that when businesses sign up to be promoted, so I offer promotion for free of all the businesses, but in order for them to get the promotion, they can't just send me a picture on Instagram. They have to go to my website, fill out a form, and then I promote their business. So I have all of their information from what industry they're a part of, their name, their email, everything, which, not to give too much detail, but if you use certain websites, when they complete the form, it goes to a Google file and it keeps all of the information there. And that's just a really easy way to capture information. I'm sure Brent has some other, options.
I mean, Ashley, that was awesome. Those were some of the things that I was going to say as well. And then, of course, I know we're millennials, and sometimes kind of old school methods don't seem as important, but depending on what, your type of business and how you're trying to engage them, once you have, especially if they're already a lead, you may even want to, and I know it's a little bit tougher now, but mail them a card saying, thank you for becoming a lead, or thank you for joining this, or even maybe an email, or even some other type of communication, just engaging them and making them feel very special for being a lead. And kind of like what Ashley was talking about, definitely that type of funnel system is very good for your business. If you're looking to really retain people, have some way to engage them in or lead them in, kind of almost like fishing. You're baiting them in, and then once you have them on your website, they're putting in all their information, and then from there, you could do an email blast once a week saying, well, look, hey everybody, and hey, you can get this type of discount, or we're doing this, or we're doing a free webinar. So it's so many different ways to do it. So those are just a couple of ways, and hopefully those help you right there.
Absolutely. And then Iman, I see a question from Billy in there. Do you want to read that?
So this is for both of the presenters. Relationships are the key to success with entrepreneurs, as well as when providing a service. Do either of you have any tips on developing new relationships or maintaining existing relationships in a virtual environment?
Brent?
Okay, yeah, kind of similar to what we just stated. You can definitely use some of those tips, but one way you definitely can continue to engage your existing clients is, one way is a phone call, or a quick Zoom meeting. You may, reach out to them and say, hey, I just want to check up on you. I just want to see how your family is doing. And of course, you want to do that from a genuine standpoint, but those are just some good tactics to really keep those relationships going. I know some new relationships, some ways to do it is kind of like this, what you're doing with this webinar, is contacting, maybe putting in, the chat box, if anyone wants any information about your business, to email you. Another good way to do it, I know in our area, we have BNI. Is anyone familiar with BNI, Business Networking International? Anybody? But it's a great networking type of organization, and there are others in the area. And those are some great ways to build some new relationships via some webinars or some Zoom meetings. So those are some of the ways. It is kind of difficult to navigate at this point, but I think ways to where you're in these meeting spaces, if you can find a way to touch base with at least one person, or say, hey, I want your email address, I want to follow up with you, I think that would definitely serve you well.
And just to kind of chime in there, to Brent's point, which was excellent, what I see happening a lot, and it's just kind of doing it in moderation, like please just really pay attention to the word moderation here, is Instagram and Facebook Lives. So I have to give shout out to Jordan Franklin. She's an attorney. Her company is called the Franklin Group. And so what she actually did was she had she picked a topic, it was trademarks, and it was called, I think, Toasts and Trademarks. So it was think on a Friday, you could join in to her Instagram Live, have a drink ready, wine or a cocktail, and she would answer any question that you can think of as it relates to trademark. That is an excellent way to gain new clients and to become, number one, you are seen as a resource because she's just spitting out information. And then when they wanted additional information, because after a while, when people are asking you questions, they're going to want that one-on-one. They're going to want to know, can I give you a call? Can I email you? And what you would say is DM me after this is over and we'll set up some time. So the great thing about operating virtually right now is you don't have to pay the cost of operating an event. You don't have to book a room, pay for catering. People are in their homes, you're in your homes. You can wear whatever you want to wear and people join in. You don't have to pay for drinks or anything. And you're able to give them a little, just a little tidbit, like a little sip of your area of expertise. So I think her event was like 1 hour and 30 minutes, which is nothing, right? Because you're in your home. And people were just joining and shooting out questions. And all she did was make a little cute flyer, posted it on, to Brent's point, the Twitter, the Instagram, Facebook, and people joined in on Instagram and Facebook Live. You're able to meet new clients. You're able to kind of reel in, like you mentioned, reeling in those potential clients, really reeling them in with information, and it's free.
Awesome. Yeah, great response. Yeah, like that's kind of just off that media piece. Make yourself the expert in your field, even if you're not the expert, because I don't think I'm the expert when it comes to video production and social media, just because I guess I'll try to be humble, but I do know a lot. But other people really value your opinion, and sometimes things that you think are, let me think of a term, I guess I would say kind of maybe frontline type of things, maybe simple things or complex things to other people. Like sometimes setting up a Facebook page, that's very simple to me, but to somebody else, that would be a gold wealth of knowledge. So just paint yourself as the expert, and I promise you'll get some new people and you'll invigorate some existing people.
And then Liz, her question is about marketing to, so business, Liz, what you're asking is B2B, so business to business, how to market when you're a business to other businesses. And so a great resource that I have to kind of tell people all the time is local chamber of commerces. So there's the Greater Houston partnership, which is a chamber, a local chamber. There's the Greater Houston Black Chamber. There's the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce. There's the Chamber of Commerce for every race, every ethnicity. And there's a women's chamber, and they're hosting events. And these are business owners. These are people, corporate professionals. And so getting on there and networking and meeting other people in other industries, it's an easy and a free method. I know for certain the Greater Houston Black Chamber has been hosting weekly webinars with different professionals. And what we realize is that there are other professionals joining in those webinars. It's a great resource. And to Brent's point, just kind of typing in the chat, being like, hey, I don't know if anybody's in here that needs a marketing firm, but I'm, such and such, and I'm the owner of a marketing firm. I would love to chat after, this webinar ends.
Right. Yeah, that's a co-sign that. Here in the Shreveport area, I was on our Greater Shreveport Chamber board for years, so I'm definitely an advocate for Chamber of Commerce. And same here, we have we have the General Chamber, we have the African American Chamber, we have some other groups that are great for that. And also, when it comes to business, we know a lot of people aren't doing well. Liz, it may behoove you just to reach out to them just to see how they're doing. A lot of times, in business, sometimes we're kind of starting, we just want to talk about business, but we have to remember at the beginning of the day and at the end of the day, we are people. So people, we have feelings, even if we are a starts professional, we still have feelings. And I've even seen in my career that sometimes just showing that you're there or checking on someone, that will benefit you. Maybe not now, maybe not in the next 6 months, but 2 or 3 years later, that same person that remembered you reached out to them at a tough time, they'll remember you when they need some business.
And then we have a question from Chantel. She says, how do you identify a sound business coach or advisor? How would you know what price is feasible to pay? So because I'm just kind of jumping in, because I offer consulting, you have to it's like shopping around for a therapist. To Brent's point, make it personal. It's like shopping for a therapist. Most consulting firms offer a free consultation, but it doesn't mean that you guys are a match, right? Just like you meet a therapist and you start to talk, you go, okay, this isn't a match. It just takes some shopping around, and then it takes being very honest about what your budget is. If you don't have, because a consulting firm, a consultant, they are a company, they need to be paid. And so a lot of times the advice they're giving you, which I had to learn recently, is not tangible, but it's still worth money. So you have to be very honest about your budget and what you can pay. And then you need to have some form of idea of what you need. You can't just go to somebody and say, I need business advice. Like financial, marketing, market research, like there's so many aspects of that. So got to figure out, you know, what is your goal? Like, where do you want to be in a year? And then that will help you to figure out what you need from a consultant. And then knowing that not all consultants offer the same service. So some consultants are just financial consultants. Some consultants are just marketing consultants. So just searching around like you would do a therapist until you find the one that is the best fit for you. Brent?
Yeah, I think that's a perfect answer. And it seems like Ashley would be a great coach or advisor or consultant for you, just to kind of throw her a little alley-oop. But no, what she said is true. I kind of think of it like dating or looking, I'm a church musician as well, so I have a lot of church analogies, or looking for a pastor, or even kind of getting a friend. It's the same type of thing. You just kind of have to see what works best for you. And a lot of times, the reason that you're going to pay what you're going to pay, because not only does that person become your coach and your advisor, you instantly become a part of their network. So when it's somebody that has a huge network that could, exponentially grow your business, if you do a good job and they're coaching you there, then they may be worth, $150, $200 a session, or however much that person charges. So you have to see what your budget is, but then you have to see where you're looking to go and who you're looking to associate yourself with.
Thanks so much, you all. At this time, I'm not seeing any more questions in the Q&A box or in
well, there's a couple. I see 2 in the chat. I don't know if we want to acknowledge those questions.
I thought we had.
we saw Liz.
Yeah.
Are there any others that I missed?
I thought I saw.
No, I saw Billy's and.
Okay, never mind. I'm sorry. Yeah, she put that one in there.
Great. So at this time, if no one else has any questions, let's see, I got one more that popped up. We'll take just to be mindful of everyone's time, we will take one more question. And you can see that. So this is from Chantel Jones. And she asks, when considering commercial real estate investing, where would one start with beginning geographical data analysis? And do you all know of any key resources?
Can you give a little bit more detail, Chantel?
So Chantel, if you want to use the chat box to kind of elaborate on your question for Ashley and Brent.
And then Brent had a question for Emily. She said, do you manage YouTube channels?
Yes, Emily, we manage the whole social media spectrum, so we can definitely assist you on that.
Okay, so we're waiting on Chantel to elaborate a bit. And you can use the Q&A box, Chantel, or you can go ahead and type your explanation into the chat and they'll see that as well. And
just, I guess as it relates to commercial real estate, you definitely want to look at the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. They have chapters in every major city. So there's one in Houston. And so I know that they, it's like kind of like a local chamber, or even like NABA, it's just for real estate brokers. And I know that they have a lot of resources on their website and a lot of opportunities for mentorship or peer mentorship from other realtors that can assist you in getting a little more information. I know a little bit about real estate, but not, I know what you're looking for. Identifying fit locations to build a storage facility, mobile home, etc., based on traffic growth. So yeah, you're definitely going to want to, I'll just put it in the chat, but you want to reach out to, it's called NARAB, the National Association of Real Estate Brokers. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn, and then also go to their website, and they can probably assist you better than I can. I know that for sure. I'm not sure, Brent, do you know?
No, like I know for me, I would just check with maybe and you've probably already done that, a realtor that is really delved into that. Or you may even want to, I guess just an idea, maybe someone at the city, maybe city engineer or city, or maybe even probably the Metropolitan Planning Committee. I don't know who that may be in Houston, but I would think that that might be a great route to identify somebody on that committee that actually plans out what the city builds and where they build it and stuff. And I know for sure they would have the data that you would need to know, look, what's the best place, what's the best location, and if you can build that over there, if you need that type of sewage system. I'm kind of making stuff up. I don't know anything past that, but definitely check out with your Metropolitan Planning Commission or Committee.
Well, thank you, Asheli and Brent, for answering those questions. At this time, we're going to wrap up the questions. If you all have any, additional questions for Brent and Asheli, just keep in mind that we will be sharing a recording of this webinar, and we'll be sharing their contact information as well, so that you can reach out to them. And at this time, I want to thank our sponsor and share a bit of contact information for NABA and EPC. One moment. So thanks so much to Comerica Bank. Again, they are our sponsor for our Bridging the Gap Financial Literacy Series. I see that Vanessa joined our call today. Thanks so much for doing that. We really appreciate you all for sponsoring this webinar. And just so you all know, Bridging the Gap, although this is our first webinar, this is not our first event. Bridging the Gap has been in existence since 2019, and last year through our Bridging the Gap series, where we were able to serve almost 700 individuals through nearly 30 events ranging from credit management, debt and savings, to home ownership, entrepreneurship, and lots of different topics. So we're really excited that Comerica Bank has given us the opportunity to be able to continue this series this year, even though we're in the process of pivoting instead of pausing, as Asheli has put it today, and transitioning this series online rather than hosting in person. And at this time, I'll share contact information for NABA. So National Association of Black Accountants Houston chapter. Their website is www.community.nabainc.org/Houston. And you can also see the link there for their Facebook. I know Cecil, if you want to hop back in, you can go ahead and do that. But thanks so much, Cecil, and thanks so much to the National Association of Black Accountants Houston chapter. You all have been absolutely amazing this year. You've been awesome partners to the Bridging the Gap series. And now I'll take the time to share Emancipation Park Conservancy's contact information. Our website is www.epconservancy.org. It is there at our website that you can find our schedule of events. You can find out what we've been up to during this pandemic and how we're transitioning a lot of our programs and events online. You can also keep up with us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at EP Conservancy. Our YouTube is Emancipation Park Conservancy. And last but not least, we definitely want to encourage you all to support our EPC programs and events. So if you are able, if you'd like to help make programs like Bridging the Gap possible long-term, or programs in any of our other 3 core focus areas, which are economic empowerment, education, and health and wellness, you can always text 1872 to 243-725 to support EPC programs and events. That is our text to donate information. And so at this time, we'll go ahead and wrap up. We really do thank you again, Brent and Asheli, for joining us. If you all have any last thoughts, or Cecil, if you have any last thoughts, feel free to jump in. But if not, we'll go ahead and end this webinar, and we'll be sure to send out a link and also a poll so you guys can tell us what you thought about our webinar today.
Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.
All right, well, everyone have a wonderful evening. Thanks again so much for joining, and hopefully we'll see you next time.